Okay, this is our session. So I'm going to kind of walk you through the course and some policies and procedures and things like that. But before we do that, I want to go ahead and do this first due date. Our first due date is August 15th. That's next Wednesday. And everything between yesterday all the way through the 15th is due on the 15th. So if there's something on the schedule that says it's on the 15th, you have to turn it in on the 15th. So it's not going to be due for the next week. It's going to be due that week. You're always more than welcome to work ahead. So if you know that you have a fall break coming up or something really busy with school, you can go ahead and work ahead in this course. That's perfectly fine. And then the other thing I wanted to let you know is that if you have like a fall break or any sort of days off of school, whatever breaks that you have at your face-to-face school do not translate to virtual school. So if you have fall break at your school, you still have work at virtual school. So really follow that calendar because it'll tell you exactly what days we have stuff going on and what days we don't. So anyway, here's the presentation. I'll try and go through it fairly quickly because I have some short little videos I would like to show you towards the end. And then as you're watching the recording, if you ever have any questions about anything we talk about here, please just send me an email or a text, and I'd love to answer it for you. Don't spend a lot of time, like if you're looking for something or you can't figure something out, don't spend like hours trying to figure it out. Just email me, and I can usually answer it in like very quickly, and then you can get on your way and keep working on whatever you're working on. I know you guys are really busy, and so you don't want to waste a bunch of time, looking for an answer or trying to figure something out when I could, help you figure it out very, very quickly. So a little bit about me. I went to the University of Florida. I graduated summa cum laude with a Bachelor's of Science degree in zoology. And then I took about 8 months off and worked as a research assistant, and then started school and got my master's in fisheries and aquatic sciences. My thesis was on corals in Homosassa Bay in Florida. And I also went to the University of Florida for that. After that, I started teaching school, teaching science that next fall after I graduated, and I've been teaching science ever since. I took a little, maybe like 6-ish month break when I had my son and we moved up to the Atlanta area, but then I've been teaching virtual school since then. So my husband is Ryan. He's a computer programmer, and we have 2 boys, Benjamin, he will be 3 in September, and Samuel, who is 7 months. He was born December 22nd last year, so he's still little. And then we have 2 dogs, Luke and Leia, and we have 2 cats, Marie and Bo. I've been teaching apes for, let's see, 3, 4, 5-ish years, and it really meshes well with my background, so I like teaching it a lot. I was teaching physics before that, and I don't like physics nearly as much as apes. So my office hours are 5 to 7 p.m. That's technically, if you call me, I'll answer the phone. But really, if you call this number, you can text me, and I'll get back to you very, very quickly. Or if you call and I don't answer, just leave a message about what you wanted to talk about. It'll say like, this is a Google Voice number or something like that. Just leave a message. My boys are kind of loud, and so what I do is usually I'll return your phone calls after my husband gets home, and I can go somewhere quiet. That way you can actually even hear me. And then email is actually the best way to contact me. I've got it on my iPad and my phone, and I can gather whatever you need and send it back to you or whatever. So email is really helpful. And then the course has something called a pager. I've actually never had a student use the pager, maybe once. And I will answer your page, but email is preferred. The problem with the pager is you actually have to be in the course in order to see the pages. And so if I don't have the course brought up, I'm not actively looking at it, I won't see your page. So that's kind of the problem with a page, because I know a lot of times you guys are working, you want your answer like now. So our schedule, just take time to look at the syllabus I sent you via email. If you didn't get it via email, you can actually, you can just click on one of these links in the course, and it will take you to your schedule. Okay, and I'll show it to you when the video is playing. And then just make sure you select the correct schedule. So if you're in the 18-week session, you need to select the 18-week schedule. Otherwise, you'll be following a schedule and you'll turn in things late. Your acknowledgement form can actually be found right below that. And then the link for the Synchronous classroom is also right there. So there's a lot of handy stuff right in that course information section. If you look at your course schedule, I've tried to kind of color code things for you. So based on like kind of where they fit in the grading. So like, for example, welcome discussion, and the Dropbox assignments, those are the same color, so they'll be, weighted the same in the grade book. And then, for example, labs and FRQs will be weighted the same. In all honesty, they're all 15%, so they're just different 15%. So just keep that in mind. And if you've ever taken a virtual school before, you'll know that discussions are usually 5%, but in the AP classes it's 15%. So just keep that in mind. Your discussions are they require a little more work, so I guess they're giving you a little more credit for that. And then your tests are actually 50% of your grade. Now, when I was talking about the due dates, for example, if you look at this schedule, this is actually from last spring, but it's still an APE schedule. You'll see that there's a plate tectonics quiz on this date. That means this plate tectonics quiz needs to be turned in on this date. So, this welcome discussion, this lab, this natural resource discussion, and the plate tectonics thing must be turned in by 11:59 on this Wednesday. Otherwise, it'll be late. So just keep that in mind. And then each day kind of shows you what you should be reading and things like that. That way you can kind of keep track. There's something for you to do every single day in the course. And remember, this is it's basically a 36-week course that you guys are taking in 18, 16, or 14 weeks. So it's pretty fast-paced. You're going to have a lot due each week, but it's basically you're taking a full year course in half a year. So that's why that is like that. So all your work is due every Wednesday by 11:59 starting next week. So your first due date is August 15th. Okay. Now, this is also really important. If you've ever taken a class with virtual school before, we had that 1 day late 10%, 2 days late 20%, 3 days late 30%. Well, they've gone ahead and they've changed the deadline for the late penalties because, well, I don't know when I did it. But anyway, basically, we're only accepting late work within 2 school days. Okay, so Thursday and Friday. If you turn in work on Thursday, it's 1 day late and it's going to be 20% off. If you turn in work on Friday, it's 2 days late, it's still 20% off. Okay? And then work will be not accepted after Friday. So if you turn in something like Saturday, Sunday, Monday, like you could before, you won't get any credit. So it's really important that you turn stuff in on time. And I think the big thing is they want to encourage students to turn stuff in on time because these late penalties really start adding up and really start hurting students' grades. Plus, they start getting behind on the next week. Anyway, that's the new late policy. So it's 20% across the board, Thursday or Friday. Okay, and then at the end of the semester, all classwork must be submitted, and this includes test corrections, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Must be submitted before the final exam starts. So the final exam starts on a Wednesday, and your test corrections, everything must be in on Tuesday. And that's not a school policy. That's a virtual school policy. They don't want you turning in any work after you've taken the final exam or after the final exam opens. So vacation, basically, you need to work ahead. If you're going to be out of town, you can kind of let me know. But you can't say, oh, I was on vacation. Oh, I was on a band trip. I had a sports tournament, whatever. They're not going to give you exceptions for late work. If you have been to the doctor and you actually have a doctor's note, you can email me and I'll send you a form that you can fill out, and someone that is not me, they are above me at virtual school, they will look at your doctor's note and look at what you fill out on that little form, and they will determine if you get an extension or not. But you must have documentation. Okay, I don't know how many times I've had students tell me that they've been to the doctor or whatever, someone died, and they fill out the extension form, and I tell them, make sure you send your documentation, and they don't. And then we both get an email like that day or the next day that says your request was denied because you didn't have any, you didn't submit your documentation. And then I get an email like a couple days later that says, now that we've gotten your documentation, here's your extension. So just go ahead and submit the documentation in the beginning. Your assignments, so what will I do for you? That's what you need to do for me, right? Your assignments will be graded within 3 school days. That means say, a lot of times students will save all their work till Wednesday, okay? And I've had students that needed to take some quizzes and a test, and so they'd email me at like 10 o'clock on Wednesday night and they'd say, hey, can you grade that that quiz I just took like 30 minutes ago because I want to review it before I take my test? Well, no, I might not have time to grade your test like 10 minutes after you take it or 30 minutes after you take it. If you want to make sure that you want that quiz graded before you take your test, go ahead and, you should have done it on Monday. Usually I grade things within about 24 hours, but, technically I do get 3 days to grade things. So, and then I'll have students that I'll be in the middle of grading and I'll get an email that says, can you grade this? And I'll say, well, I was actually in the middle of grading assignments, but I had to take time out of my grading to answer your email about grading, so that's going to be like 5 minutes longer that it takes me to grade your quiz or whatever. So just keep that in mind. You're more than welcome to send me an email to ask me to grade it or whatever, but technically I do get 3 days to grade it. Usually it's 24 hours, but if you send me an email at 10 p.m. and ask me to grade your quiz that you took 30 minutes ago, I'm not going to be a happy camper, and I still probably won't grade it till the next day. So just keep that in mind. On Thursday mornings, I will enter zeros for anything that was due that week that you haven't turned in. And that's because I want to show you, well, first we're required to, but also I want to show you what your grade is if you don't turn in those late assignments. Okay? Then you can go and you can turn those things in. You'll get some late credit removed, but it's better than nothing, and your grade will go up a little bit. But you can always look Thursday mornings for zeros, and I try and send an email out that says, by the way, you're missing something when I enter those zeros. So if you get one of those emails, it's okay. I've got students before, they're like, oh my gosh, it totally just slipped my mind. That's okay. That's why I send the emails. That's why we have that late policy. But if you do it all the time, it will affect your grade. Your grade will start going down. Please look at the feedback I leave you on quizzes, discussions, Dropbox items, things like that. I take time to give you that feedback, and the reason I do that is because I want to help you prepare for the AP exam or just learn the material. So if you're not reading that feedback, I get all the time, I get students, like for example, in the fall, it'll be like December or the end of November, like Thanksgiving time. And they'll say, I want to start working on my test corrections, but I don't know how to check my feedback. I'm like, man, I've been leaving you feedback on these quizzes and your tests all semester, and you don't even know how to, you haven't even been reading it, so it's kind of sad. So just make sure you check your feedback. If you need help while working on your assignments, please let me know. I would be glad to help you. But remember, sometimes it takes up to 24 hours for me to email you back. So, if you email me all the time, I get students to email me at like 11:30, and they're like, I can't get this to work or whatever. Okay, well, I'll help you through it tomorrow, but it's going to be late because, they'll email me like 11:30 on a Wednesday. So I really like to have students like almost like pretend that the due date is Tuesday. That way, if you have any problems or anything comes up, you can always turn it, you always have that Wednesday as like a backup. Also, if you turn in assignments early, for example, if you have something that's due next Wednesday and you turn it in tomorrow, I can grade it tomorrow. And then if there's something wrong with it, like say it's a lab and there's something wrong with it, or you like missed something, you didn't earn full points, you can look at your feedback. You can fix that lab and then you can resubmit it by the next, by the due date, and then you can get more points. So that's another really good reason to turn things in early because you can get some extra points. The only thing that you can't get extra points for like that is an FRQ. So here is our grade breakdown. So this is what I was telling you, like labs and FRQs are 15%, and Dropbox discussions and quizzes are also 15%, and then your tests and projects are 50%, and your final exam is 20%. So that final exam is worth more than all the labs and FRQs you do all semester, or all the Dropbox assignments, discussions, and quizzes you do all semester. So the final exam is something that you really want to study for and try and do well on. And the good thing is it also helps you prepare for that AP exam. So that's another great thing about the final. So if you are having technical difficulties, that is not an excuse for assignments to be late. I have students, they'll email me and say, oh, my internet went out Wednesday night. I'm really sorry, but there's nothing I can do about that. We expect that if you sign up for a virtual school class, that you have computer and internet access. That's just, something we expect. If you're going to want to take a class online, we expect you have access to the internet. You can always go to the public library and get internet access. You can also get on your GAFS courses on your phone or your tablet or something like that. I can tell you I've gotten on my course on my phone. It's not a super pleasant experience because it's really small, but I get on it on my iPad all the time, and it's it's fine. So I would recommend if you're going to use a mobile device, a tablet over a phone, just because the screen's a little bigger, but it does work on your phone. So I'm going to actually show you how to do this in a video that I made, but just in case you want like some screenshots, here they are. So to go to the content, you just will click on course materials right here, and then you'll go down to content, and it'll bring up a list of like, this is physics actually, but it'll bring you a list of all your units, and then you can just click on whichever one you want. So like you would click here, and then you'll just click on this first one, and it'll take you right there to the unit, and then you can go from there. That's where you'll find all your assignments and the content and stuff like that. If you want to get to your coursework, you'll go to assessments, which is on the top left. And then your discussions are here, your Dropbox, your quizzes. You can see your gradebook right here. Again, this is a physics class when I took the screenshot, but it's exactly the same. So discussions, you can look at the rubric to see what you need to earn full points. And this says 2 to 3, but it really should be 4. This was for a non-AP class. So you need to cite any sources you use. You have to respond to 2 classmates to get full credit for that portion of the rubric. And your responses to your classmates must be at least 4 sentences. So the problem is we start to get these responses where students like, I agree, great job. Or you know, I think you did a really good job on that. And that's all they write. That's not a discussion, right? The point of the discussions is to facilitate that back and forth that you get in a real classroom. So great job isn't all that effective. Okay, if you're basically if your answer to a classmate or your reply to a classmate is something that my 2-year-old can say, it's not enough. Okay, he says stuff like great job. Um, so for example, if you want to say, you could say I agree, but you could say I agree because I like how you did this, blah 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 blah. That is more helpful. You need to use correct grammar, punctuation, spelling. It's like you're writing a paper, not a text message. Okay. Note, if you forget to put something in your discussion, let's say you forget to cite your sources. If you edit your discussion, I don't get a notification that you edited it, so I will have no idea that you fixed it. Okay, so what you need to do is just reply to your original post and say, sorry, I forgot my sources, here they are. Then I'll get a notification. Okay, and on almost all the threads, you won't be able to view your classmates' post until you create your own thread first. So you might be like, hey, nobody's posted in here. That's just because you haven't done it. So they want you to create something original before you view what everyone else says, so you guys aren't just like repeating each other. So your responses should be encouraging. Sometimes they'll say critique your classmates, but you need to critique them in a nice way, like I'm not sure that will work or something like that. Not like, well, you're an idiot. Okay, that's not gonna be allowed. Okay, if you do something like that, if you call someone an idiot or something like that, I'm just gonna delete your post and get a 0, because it is not nice. And I want y'all to be kind. Okay. It's sometimes helpful if you see that a classmate has made a post and nobody's replied to it yet. Go ahead and read it. See if there's something that you can say. You can reply to them. If you can't relate, fine, move on. If you can't think of anything to say to them, but it's always great if everyone can get at least a reply from one classmate. I'll try to reply to everyone's post, so at least you'll get mine. But you might want someone up here, basically. Some of the discussion posts are kind of lengthy, so what I suggest is like typing what you want to say in like a Word document, and then copying and pasting it into the discussion post area. Because like even with me, I've typed like these long responses and stuff, and then I get to I'm like halfway through, and my computer freezes up or something, or I lose internet connection, and I've lost this whole thing that I've written, and then I'm like, oh, I really don't feel like writing this all over again. And my second attempt is never as good as the first one because I'm just so frustrated that I lost all that stuff I'd already written. So, just an idea. So in the Dropbox, make sure you save and close the document before you submit it. If you don't do that, it won't work. Sometimes if you submit like a PDF and it's blank, it's because you didn't like save and close the document before you submitted it. You need to save or turn in your work in these common formats. And this is really important. Okay, if you don't turn it in a common format, like if you turn in a Pages document or something, we're not allowed to take it. Okay, and so the first time you submit an incorrect file type, you'll get 3 days to submit the valid file. Okay, and I'll write a note in your feedback. This is another reason why it's important to read your feedback. That says, this is an invalid file format, or I can't open it, or whatever. You have 3 days, 3 school days to submit a valid file. The first time, okay, because sometimes students will try and like play this. So after the first time, it's an automatic 0, and I hate this. I had some students over the summer. They're constantly turning in the wrong file format, which is, fine if they're turning in their work early, but I had a student, he turned in his work like right on time, like Wednesday night, late Wednesday night, and I got up Thursday morning to look at it, and he'd submit a project, right, 50% of their grade, and he submitted it in some weird format, and I couldn't even open it, and I had to give him a 0 because he'd done it before, and I hated it because it was this huge grade and it was a 0. So Each document should include your name and the name of the assignment. So you could say, like, for me, I might say like Crodal Scientific Inquiry Lab, something like that. You would be surprised how many students turn in like their file name is like Untitled like 3 or something. And then, you know, everyone turns in an untitled document because they don't put a title on their document, and there's no title anywhere. So, you know, when I'm downloading them to look at them, if I don't know which one is yours, it's hard for me to make sure I give you the correct grade, right? So then I have to go back and check and check and check. So just make sure it has your name on it somewhere. You also cannot submit work via email ever. Okay, everything that you turn in for a grade must be submitted within the course. Because there are folks that go back behind me and make sure that, you know, oh, they have a grade for this assignment, but there's no work submitted. Why is that? Right? So they go back behind me. So if you cannot submit something via email, every semester I have at least one student that will say, well, I can't get it to work, so here I'm just emailing it to you. That's nice. I'm glad you did that. I really appreciate it, but I can't grade it there. It has to be in the Dropbox folder, or I cannot give you a grade. That's really important. The weekly synchronous sessions, that's like what this is. Basically, I will go over material that we're learning that week or like the next week, so you'll have it in advance of, you know, when we start learning it. They're really for you guys to ask questions. Or if you have a topic you'd like me to cover, please ask. Just, you know, send me an email and say, I'm really confused about this, and I'll make sure to talk about that. But otherwise, I'll just kind of talk about whatever I've kind of planned to talk about. Basically, usually I try and pick the most important topics from that week. Maybe not like all of them, but like maybe the Cliff Notes, basically, version of the topics that week. If you have specific questions, you can't attend the office hours, just send them to me via email. I can usually answer them in the email, or I can, you know, answer them during the synchronous session, and then you can look at the recording link. You do need to have speakers, obviously, or you can't hear what I'm saying. Unfortunately, if you don't have speakers, you don't know that I'm saying this, but here, I'll do this so you can see it. And then, but a microphone, you don't have to have a microphone. You can just type into the chat box. Most students like to do that, but if you want to talk, that's totally cool. I'm okay with that as well. Academic honesty, you really need to turn in your own work. If you turn in something that has been plagiarized, you'll get a grade of 0. We have a subscription to Turnitin, so all of your assignments will be looked over by Turnitin, and it'll give you a percentage similarity, and it'll tell me like where your stuff came from. So I'll be able to see if it came from someone in the course or a different website you copied it from, word for word or whatever. So, you know, it's really easy for me to tell if you have plagiarized your assignments. So make sure that you're doing your own work, which is, you know, also the best way to learn and do well on the AP exam. You also can't work with other students or teachers on any projects or any assignments. But if you have questions, please just ask me. I would love to answer them. That's kind of what I get paid for. So again, no cutting and pasting. If you get something from an outside source, you need to cite it, okay? If you're using something word for word, you have to put quotations in there. And then only about 10% of your information can be quoted. If you have a question, ask. But it's kind of like when I was in school, we had a dress code, and I would say, Mom, do you think this is allowed? And she'd say, if you're not sure if allowed, it's probably not. Like if you have to ask, it's probably not allowed. And I'd go, yeah, and she made me go change. It's kind of the same way with plagiarism. Like if you have to ask like yourself, like, I wonder if this is considered plagiarism. It probably is. Okay. All of your email correspondence will be sent to your student email account, so it's really important you log in that every single day. Your C5 account will also give you access to Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, OneNote, Publisher, and all that sort of stuff on up to 5 PCs and mobile devices. Okay, and you also get a terabyte of online storage. Okay, this is huge. This is really expensive, right? Make sure you take advantage of this. When I started working for virtual school, I went ahead and I downloaded all of these apps on my computers and my iPad and my phone and everything to make sure, that I was taking advantage of this, because it's, it's good software and you can use it in college or in your other classes, and it doesn't like go away once you're done with the class. So it's really handy, and I have a video to show you guys how to get to that if you need it. Use your Gabs email when you want to email me. Again, you can use the pager, but I really prefer email. Check your email daily. You will get grade notifications to your parents sent out. The only problem is the grade notifications are like a snapshot of your grade. So whenever they take that snapshot, that was your grade. Now, if you turned in things, which a lot of students do, in between that snapshot and when it gets sent out, your grade could be completely different. So just, keep that in mind, that it's not going to be, up to the minute accurate. And then make sure that you're reading the news announcements in the course. I post a new one almost every single day, and they're really important. They have a lot of really good information for you. So just take the chance to read them. And sometimes I post more than one a day. So, again, check them out. Make sure you're reading those, because, I expect that you read those. I expect that you read the weekly newsletters. That's how I'm trying to get information to you, right? I can't stand up in the front of the class and tell you all this stuff. I have to make sure, that you guys have to be reading these things in order to get that information from me. We really prefer Firefox. I use Chrome personally, but if you have a problem with a website or something like that, the first thing I'm going to do is say, are you using Firefox? Try it on Firefox, because that is the preferred browser, and that's where they've tested a lot of the simulations and things like that. If you have questions, you can always go to the help desk. In your course, you can just click on help, and there are tons and tons of articles and videos and things to help you with a bunch of frequently asked questions. So feel free to check that out. If you have a question about something, the help desk might have the answer. If not, then email me, and I can try and help you. But usually the help desk has the question. But again, if you can still email me, and I might just refer you to the help desk. But you can also use your student handbook. This is going to give you some information, about your course and what's expected of you, and what's expected of me. And then if you have a technical issue, you can complete a help desk ticket, but you can always ask me first, and I could try and help you, or you can do that help desk ticket. These are our Brightspace sessions. If you attend one of these, I'm allowed to give you 1 point on your first discussion post, which isn't that much, but you can. If you attend one, just let me know, and I'll make a little Dropbox folder for you to submit it. So these are the sessions. And then just remember, I am here to help you. That's what they pay me for. I want you to do well in the course. If you think that I'm grading hard on something, email me and ask me about it. But usually it's because I'm, holding you to the standard of the AP exam, because, that's usually students' ultimate goal with AP Environmental Science is to pass that AP exam. And so I'm holding you to the standards of the AP exam. So again, if you have any questions, please just ask. Now, let me show you these videos I have for you. The first one is kind of like a walk through the course, and then I'll kind of, show you a couple more just to kind of help you out. When I play the video, I'm going to mute my microphone so you don't get that feedback. Okay, so what I wanted to do is I wanted to just give you guys like a walkthrough of the course just to kind of familiarize you with how the course is set up and how the website is set up. So I'm actually in the course. Let me go ahead and show it as a student. That way you guys will really see what you guys see. Okay, so this is as if I am student me. So you can see on the at the top we've got these bars. I'll walk you through the home page and we'll go and talk about what's on the bars. On the right you can see this teacher information over here. You can see my phone number and my email and my hours of availability. So if you email me, I can, I'll reply as soon as I can, usually pretty quickly. Email really works best for me, but you can call me, and if I can't answer it, I'll just leave a message and I'll call you back probably between that 4 and 6 p.m. Hour. I just have to wait till my husband gets home because I have a toddler and a very small one at home, and they're quite loud sometimes. And so I want to wait till he can watch them. That way you guys can actually hear what I'm saying when I'm trying to answer your questions. But feel free to text me as well if you have, quick questions. You can text me at this number and I can get back with you really quickly, or you can email me and I'll email you back ASAP. And then if you call, just leave a message if I don't answer, and I'll call you back, usually within 24 hours. So this is the bulletin board. Right now it's showing this welcome section, and then once all the students have enrolled, I'll go ahead and I'll change it to something else. But right now that's what it's going to look like for a few weeks at least. Then on the left you can see the news announcements that I post for you guys. This one is the week 1 update that you guys should have gotten in your email. So it's just kind of talks about what we're going to talk about this week. It has some, did you know kind of stuff, helpful information. It has what we're doing this week, our schedule, and then it has next week too. Most of them will have like the previous week and then this week, but this one, because it's the first one, just has the first and second week. But then it shows you our due date in this orange box, and then it shows the date of the help session, and then the exam day. Okay, so all of them are going to show this exam day because that's really important. That's when your AP exam is. Okay. On the right, you can see the course schedule. So if you click the 18-week, we'll see the 18-week one, and they're all the same except for like the word part is all the same. It's just the actual scheduled day-to-day part that is different between them. So you guys have an e-textbook. You can go here and click on this link. I'll open it in a new tab so you can see what it looks like. And then this will give you your e-textbook.
This video is going to help you to access your e-text.
So it's going to tell you all about your e-textbook and how to access it and that kind of thing. And you'll have access to this textbook for the whole semester. Then you can go down here and you can look at your assignments. I've color coded them to match this. So if something is purple, then it will be in this category. If it's green, it'll be in this category, pink, this category, and red is your final exam. Okay. Some assignments, it wants you to do them over multiple days. And so I've highlighted the day that assignment is actually due. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's when you have to, excuse me, turn it in, but that's the day that it's due. So for example, or that's the day it wants you to do it. Like, for example, so this welcome discussion, it wants you to do this Monday, January 8th. But it's not technically going to be late until Thursday, January 15th, 16th, 17th, January 18th. Okay, so like at midnight on January 18th, it'll be late. But the syllabus or the schedule suggests that you do it on Monday. So that's kind of how that works. You can see like this transgenic fly lab, it wants you to start it on Thursday, but it doesn't really expect you to finish it until Friday. And so that's why it's highlighted on Friday.
Same with this toxicology lab. One thing that I do offer for you guys, if you turn in something early, like for example, you turn in your welcome discussion on Monday and you forget to, answer one of the questions on there, I can grade it and I can tell you what you forgot. And then as long as you, reply to that welcome discussion and add whatever you were missing before this due date, I can go back and fix it. So like your tragedy the commons lab, you could turn it in Thursday, the 11th, and then I'll grade it. And then if there's something that you're missing or whatever, you can correct it before the 17th, this Wednesday, and then I can go back and give you more points on that. So that's kind of helpful, and it gives you an advantage to turning in stuff early. So here's our whole thing, our whole schedule. Now, some people ask me, when should I start reviewing for the AP exam? I suggest at least by spring break. So if you don't have your study book by spring break, make sure you get one over spring break and you start reviewing over spring break. You can obviously start reviewing earlier, but a good rule of thumb is by spring break, you should really start reviewing for the exam, because that's about a month out from the exam. Okay. You'll see that we will review for the test these days, and then your final exam for virtual school is actually scheduled on Wednesday and Thursday, and your AP exam is also that Thursday. So there's a couple ways you can approach this. You could take the final exam on Wednesday and have it be like kind of a practice for that AP exam the day before, which is, maybe what I would suggest. Or you can actually ask virtual school to allow you to take your final exam early, not late. They won't let you take it late, but you can ask to take it early. And then you could take it like Monday or something like that. And then it's not like the day before your exam. So either one of those is totally okay. Or you could take it the day of your exam. That just might be a lot of environmental science in one day. But, you might be fresh, but you also might be really burn out from the exam. So it just depends what, works best for you. This is where you get your acknowledgement form. Everyone needs to turn one of these in. It's not worth points on your in the grade book, but you do really need to turn it in. Our weekly synchronous classroom sessions are Tuesdays at 6 p.m. and you can click this link right here and it will take you to join Jigsaw. We can go down here. This is a welcome message I have for you. Please make sure you read this very carefully. That way, it just is a good way to get you kind of set up for the class, get started. And then you can look over here, and I have different course resources and things for you. So if you click on this plate tectonics course resource, it opens basically a newsletter, and let me see if I can make it bigger. There we go. It opens a newsletter, and it's got helpful hints for like each assignment that you do for the unit. Like for example, this quiz, plate tectonics, it wants you to complete this self-assessment before you take the quiz. Okay. Or here's a video, here's the handout, information about the test and the quizzes, and then there's additional resources. So I have some pictures that are helpful. And then I also have, if you scroll down a little farther, I have some videos that I've actually downloaded to my Google Drive to make sure that they're, still working. Sometimes YouTube videos kind of disappear. And then, you can view these videos and they'll kind of help you as well. And then these are also some PDFs that I have for you guys. So you can, click on it and it'll take you here. And these are some things that I've kind of written to kind of help you out. So that's kind of, you can use that as well. So these are all, and they're all right here. There's one for each unit. There's review resources, And then what I've done is I've also put our weekly course updates here. And the reason I've done that is that's in case if you want to work ahead or you want to look, ahead or whatever, you can click on one, like this is the very last one for the final exam, and you can get some final exam stuff, some AP exam stuff. So, it's just to kind of give you so you've got all those resources available to you, right away. And then these news announcements will change fairly frequently, so make sure that you, check this every day. If you go to assessments here, you can click here to discussion, and you can view the welcome discussion. So these are the questions it wants you to answer in your welcome discussion. So if you miss one of these, if you, forget to answer one of these, then I'll just, say don't forget to answer this question or whatever, and then have you answer it. Here is a help thing. If you have any questions, feel free to post questions here, and then you and your classmates and I can help you through them. And then here are some more discussions. Now, the discussions for environmental AP are a little longer than ones for regular courses, so just make sure you keep that in mind. It's not something you'll be able to do in 5 minutes like you can for a lot of the other courses. Now, if you look at your history right here, or your your Dropbox, you can click in here, and then here's the actual rubric for this assignment. So if you want to get full points, you need to do all of the things in this left column right here. Okay. And so there should be one of these for everything but an FRQ. And the reason there's not one for an FRQ is because I use the College Board FRQ rubrics, and they basically tell you the answer. So they don't say you need to describe things. It says you must have written this, this, and this. So those don't give you, those aren't here in advance because, when you do an FRQ for the AP exam, you don't get the rubric in advance. But this at least shows you exactly what you need to do to get full credit. You can click, say, this Rare Earth Elements video. Same thing, it has a rubric right here. So you can kind of see where you get your points. That way you know exactly what you need to do to get full credit. So these are all of your assignments for the semester. You are more than welcome to work ahead. And then these are extra learning opportunities, which is virtual school's term for extra credit. So you can click here, you can do test corrections for, say, your plate tectonics test. You can submit them here, and I can give you some points back on your exam. Your test corrections must be handwritten. And then you just take a picture or scan them as a PDF or whatever. So I can see them, but they must be handwritten. And that's just to make sure you're not copying and pasting. I actually want you to kind of learn something from those. You can go to quizzes, and you'll see your test. Okay, or if there's a quiz, there's a quiz, and if there's a test, there's a test. They're all timed. And then your final exam, this you won't actually be able to access this until the time for the final exam. So it won't show up at all, or you won't be able to click on it or do anything with it. So here's your tests and your quizzes. If you want to see your course materials, you can go here to content, and you can see the table of contents. Here's the page for the e-textbook that we looked at earlier. Your plate tectonics, that's your first unit. I usually click the side, and then I just click whatever the first page is. And then it's going to tell me some information. It's going to tell me what assignments I have for this unit. You can listen to the page if you want. You don't have to. Some key terms. And now we're going to go and we're actually going to learn stuff here. And then it shows, this assignment. There is stuff over here on the right, some helpful information. And then there's an extra credit. I believe this is the only extra credit one that's built into the course. So I noticed it was there for that unit, but none of the others. So just kind of keep that in mind. You can go to the checklist, And then as you complete assignments, you can click them off like this, and it'll show that you've completed them. And this is for your information, so you can't just like click them and go, oh yeah, I've done everything. Ha ha ha. You actually still have to submit it. It doesn't like give you a grade for doing that or anything. It's just for you to keep track. And then you can go to the grade book. The course hasn't started yet, so it's probably not going to show all that much. But you can at least see. In this video, I'm going to show you how to get to your email, and then I'll show you how to download Office so you can have it for your class, but also you can keep it on your computer so you can have it later too. So it's kind of like a free copy of Office. It comes with your virtual school registration. So I guess you do pay for it, or your school pays for it. Anyway, this is kind of what your class will look like. And then you'll just go here under teacher information, and you'll hit this email me using your Georgia 0365 email account. Now I'm already logged in, so what you'll do is you'll get a login sign section, and you'll type in your username and your password, which is the same one you use to log into virtual school. Okay, so this is my email. I'm going to click on this little thing. They call this the waffle. So I'm going to click on this thing right here, and I'm going to click on this area where it says Office 365, and there's an arrow. Okay, now that's going to open, and it's going to show you all these apps that you can use online. To download these, you just hit this where it says install Office apps, and you'll click on Office 2016, and you'll get Outlook, OneDrive, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, and all that stuff. I don't really use the Outlook or the OneDrive all that often, but I do use Word and Excel and PowerPoint. And OneNote is kind of like Evernote. It's just a place to take a bunch of notes online. You can organize it into little notebooks and stuff like that. So a lot of students like to use that to take notes in their classes, not even just their online classes, but other classes, and just organize their information because, it keeps all their digital information in one place. You can put pictures in there and files and all sorts of stuff. So it's kind of handy. Anyway, so you'll just click that, and it'll start downloading wherever your downloads go. I have like a whole download folder, right? You'll just click on it in the download folder, you'll install it, and then you'll sign in with your virtual school username and email. And that's all you have to do. And it'll tell you right here, like mine says, to activate Office, sign in with the account you use for Office 365. And it's telling me that mine is emily.crodel@georgiavirtualschool.org. So yours will say, whatever yours is. But that's what you'll sign in with, just your virtual school stuff. And you only have to sign in once. So that's all you have to do to get Office. I'm going to show you guys how to find your schedule and then how to get the assignments. So here's your class. It doesn't really matter what class it is, the subject, but you can go down here. This is a summer class, and you can click on the schedule. So you're just going to scroll down, and under course information, you'll see the schedule. And if this is a fall class, you'll see 18, 16, 14, and 12. But this happens to be a summer class. So here's your schedule, and you can see here, we can scroll down, and we can see what they're supposed to do each day. And you can see that it's color coded. So for example, if it's going to be graded as a classwork or a quiz, it's going to be purple. And if it's graded as a discussion, it'll be blue, and a lab, it'll be pink, and a test is red. Okay, so you can see all these things. So you can go the first day, and you can see that it says module ecology. Okay, so, and then it says read introduction, page 1, and review and print key terms, and then read introduction to ecology, page 2, and complete the activities and review, and then complete the terrestrial biomes graphic organizer in the sidebar. Okay, so that's what it asked me to do. So I'm going to go up here to course materials, and I'm going to go to content, and I'm going to click on ecology, and then I'm going to click on this page 1 through 4.
And it doesn't really matter which one you pick up. You click on, I've noticed it always takes you to page 1, so you might as well just click on one. Okay, so here's our key terms, here's our information, and then on the side over here, we've got some like extra handouts and things like that. So here's what is ecology. So there's lots of information here that you guys are supposed to read and take notes on. If you look over here, there's that graphic organizer. Now, since it wasn't in bold, it's not actually for a grade. It's just something to kind of help you organize the information on the page. And then this is just telling you that this information is going to be on a quiz. And so then you can go to the next page. And it's saying Dr. Ecology project, and then it's saying that this project is going to take some time to do, so you might as well start it early. Okay. If you click over here under handout, you can see all the information for your project, and it has a rubric. Okay. Now, if we go back to your course, now this one's not going to work because we've already I've already closed the folder. But if you see here like endangered project, if this one was available, you could click on it and you could see the rubric. So I'm going to click on this one just to show you, and you can see the rubric. So that's exactly what I'm going to grade your assignment with. And there's one of these in every single Dropbox folder, so you can see exactly what you need to do to earn full points on your assignment. Okay. You can go back here, you can keep going through, and what's really nice is they kind of tell you as you get to something, okay, now you need to work on this assignment. So this is saying, okay, now do the Antarctic food web assignment. Okay, so I get lots of questions from students that say, where do I find my assignments? Because they don't actually want to go through the content, they just want to complete the assignments. If you go through them in order like in the content, then what's nice is that you read through this content, and then once the folks that design the course think you're ready for the food web assignment, because you know you've already learned about food webs, then they give you the food web assignment. They tell you they have it right here. So that means you know, you're more likely to make a good grade on an assignment when you've learned the information before. And so there's all sorts of extra resources in the side, but anyway, that's how you get to the content where you learn the information, and how you also get to your assignments, your little your handouts and things. Okay, so that's basically all I had for you today. If you have any other questions about the course, just please send me an email, and I'd love to answer them for you. Thank you.